Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here with my review of the Power Rangers Dino Charge 5-inch Dino Charge Megazord figure. So this year they did things a little differently. In the past few years we have gotten quote-unquote the Retro Fire line of Megazords, which is essentially a roughly 5-inch scale Megazord figure line. They used to label it under Retro Fire, and then I think they just stopped labeling it like that, but it essentially was. But anyway, they did have it, and it's essentially own separate little line of just a bunch of Megazord figures. But this year they seem to have done away with differentiating it, and they have lumped this guy in with the regular 5-inch line, meaning he ships with waves with the regular Ranger figures and Vivix. He's even on the back of the box. There's a regular looking box of like a 5-inch figure, which I threw out already, sorry. But the bottom line is that it's kind of like the old days when the 5-inch Megazord figures are a part of the main figure wave, because they used to do that quite a while ago. But now that we've taken a look at history lessons of Megazords, let's take a look at a history lesson of this guy. I'm bringing back the turntable. This is like the first review I've done the turntable in a while. I guess I'll do a little spin. I guess I'll knock him over and say, that's what you get for... I don't know what you did, but I'll think of it later. But let's go ahead and boom, look at this fashion show. Alright, so this guy, I'm actually a little bit mixed on this guy. I think he looks pretty okay. I don't think there's anything terribly wrong with the figure. As I'll get to in a second, the articulation's really nice, but I feel like he looks a little plain. Now, like right here on his head sculpt, I think the head sculpt looks pretty good, and you got some nice little details there on like Rexy's head and stuff. Some little details here. But the rest of him, he just looks really plain. Like, let me zoom out a little bit so you can see it. The backs are almost always plain. The word of the day, guys, is plain. But just like looking down, from the waist down, he looks really basic. And I don't know if that's because of the design. Maybe it's just me. I'm not sure. Because sometimes these aren't as well painted. Certainly not as well painted as like Figure Arts or something, or the Legacy figures. But there's just something about him that looks a little more basic than usual. It's not like it's horrendous, like the bike figures or something, but it's just a little plain. I don't know. I don't know what it is, guys. I should have brought it in for comparison, but just thinking about the last couple figures we've gotten like this, I know that it's essentially a new categorization, but like Gosei Ultimate Megazord, I think Legendary Megazord had one, they just seemed a little more detailed, in particular the ones from Megaforce proper. I'm not entirely sure what it is. Articulation wise though, he's pretty much the same as a Power Rangers 5-inch figure, which is really nice. You have the in and out movement here, some swiveling, you got an elbow joint here, you can swivel here at his little fist, his legs are on a nice little joint as well, great range of motion there, single knee joint here. You even got a little ball joint on his foot, so you can get some good motion there. No waist articulation. His head can move around. It can go 360. I'm not going to do it just because I said so. And it can move up and down a little bit. So yeah, it's pretty much like a Power Rangers 5-inch figure, which is well articulated. The only thing he comes with here is this sword piece, which is red plastic, which is a really odd choice considering this sword piece actually comes from the Stegozord, which is blue. I was going to say maybe they did it because they didn't want it looking the same when he's holding it, but that's the way it looks in the show. So I'm not sure why they did that. But yeah, and as you can see, he looks a lot closer to the way he does in the show. Because, like I mentioned previously about the Retro Fire line, the Retro Fire line started off as a bit of a stylized line, meaning that, you know, it took some liberties with the design, did things a little differently, which I personally thought was really cool. And they slowly became less stylized, but there was still some elements of it. But this one, I think, is more so done away with that than any other year, at least from my perspective. And then he looks a lot more accurate to the show proportion-wise. I don't see them trying to do anything really different other than the red sword. Maybe that was their idea. It's like, gang, every year we're gonna stylize these figures less. How do we do it this year? We'll make his sword the wrong color. Brilliant. Print it out. That was from inside the Bandai room. No, but, yeah, I'm just a little mixed on this guy. I'm not sure. But yeah, I don't hate this figure by any means. I mean, it's got pretty good articulation, no loose joint problems. Proportion-wise, he looks good. The head sculpt looks good. Parts of it do look pretty good. I mean, I feel like I just want a smidge more paint on it. I'm usually a little more lenient on Bandai of America stuff, but for whatever reason with this guy, if he just had a little bit more, I think he would be a really cool figure. So overall, this figure's pretty okay for me. If you really want a 5-inch Dino Charge Megazord figure, I can recommend it because it's not that expensive, and it gets the job done, and you can get some cool poses out of it. So it's not a bad figure. I just think that with a little more paint, it could have been really awesome. But anyway, that's about it. Until next time, make sure you check out the Crazy Podcast at writersrangersrambles.com. And of course, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, it's Dawson Rider and the back of the Dino Charge Megazord, signing out.